Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Theodore and it's an honor to have you here with me today. So I want to make this relatively quick video, I hope, but I don't trust myself anytime I say I'm going to make a quick video because I always go above and beyond and talk sometimes. But I'm really going to try to keep this a little bit short because it's about these geomagnetic solar flare storms. And I know that I think we have one more day of this intense activity. I've been reading a lot about it recently, and I know it's only kind of a 3-day thing, maybe a 4-day thing, depending on where you are in the world. And I feel I must talk about it a little bit, because if you know me by now, I'm a man of omens and synchronicity and magic, so to speak, and everything in life to me is purposeful. It's symbolic, and we wouldn't be here operating in this reality if it wasn't organized and orchestrated for some kind of soul growth benefit to our, life experience, no matter how bad our life experience could get, or challenging, I should say, or how blissful and positive and aligned it can be. Because each and every one of us, I know some of us are born in unfortunate circumstances, unfortunate countries, systems, governments, and all that. And at the end of the day, the Eastern religions can talk about karma and past life stuff that could put one in such kind of horrible situations. And then some of us who are fortunate to live in societies and cultures that are a little bit more easy, there's, there could be reasons for that as well. But regardless, my point is that everything in life, from my perspective, is there's meanings and symbolism in everything. There's divine timing in everything. Every moment of our life is something to be integrated and understood, contemplated, enjoyed. And when it comes to these storms, these geomagnetic storms, which in parts of the world are very common. I know people in Alaska, the northern lights are always there for the most part. A lot of places up north, this is a normal thing for them. But for this to be happening in a large part of the United States, a large part of, I guess you could say, Central Europe, right? I don't know if anyone's in like Central Europe-ish, let me know. Like, I know people in Ireland and England are seeing them. And for me, I think this is really important to, kind of think about, And I'm sure if you're here with me, you definitely are mystical, you're a seeker, you're probably intuitive, you probably are a healer and don't know it. Anyone who studies astrology and divination, you're either just curious, maybe from an analytical perspective, or most of us are kind of called to some kind of divination, art, tool, science, because there's something in us that wants to understand beyond reality, and then also just the inner reality that we all, experience, and the inner reality that we all are contractually obliged to obey because our birth chart is literally the map of our soul, our life, and we must obey it. We have no choice. Whether you believe we designed our soul contract and came here and we just don't remember, or if there's some other karmic reason or whatever's orchestrating this, we have to obey our life's plan. And we have to accept what arises in our reality, and we have to navigate, the ups and downs. But these I feel like I'm not even getting to the point here, guys, and I apologize. But these geomagnetic storms, if I could speak, to me are very symbolic of everything we've been going through, astrologically speaking. I think these are very timely for a lot of the activations that we will have in Taurus, believe it or not. And I'm saying that because we're going to have 2 major Cazminis very soon. And for those of you who don't know what a Cazimi is, it is when the sun conjoins a planet. So the sun will be conjoining Uranus within days, and then the sun will be conjoining Jupiter within days after that. So within the week. And of course, I feel like I can intuitively pick up on other things involving these geomagnetic storms. Like, for example, our human story of what would happen if these geomagnetic storms were really bad. They would wipe out the grids and we would be in a really, really tough spot, as humans, because we rely so much on power and electricity. So if that were to ever happen, it would be symbolic for, what do we do when we consume too much? What do we do if we're over consuming power? And there's many ways to look at what power could mean, authoritative power, actual physical electricity power that we rely on, the fact that we have no way of knowing any sort of survival mechanisms and survival ways that our ancestors used to know. So we rely so much on power. We rely so much on what brings, comfort to our lives. And these geomagnetic storms, I think I'm just going to start saying solar storms because I keep tripping up over my words. These solar storms are symbolic for a lot across the board, guys. I feel we've been hearing a lot of fear mongering from some people who are talking about the breakdown of society if the grids ever fell, and then on the other side of that, we're talking about, from a more mystical perspective, we're talking about the heavens trying to speak to us and revealing themselves to us and, reminding us of the beauty and awe of the universe and the cosmos itself. And then aside from that, when it comes to these Cazminis, which are just so synchronistically timely, a Cazimi of Uranus can very much bring electrical power grid failure. A Cazimi with Uranus can bring sudden breakthroughs, even more than just the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of sudden revelation and shock in the world and in your life. I wouldn't be surprised if this merging of the sun and Uranus really does provide a lot of things that sort of just shake things up. But because the sun is such a positive, benefic planet, even though it's a star, to the world, the sun is a star. But in astrology, everything's a planet, even the moon. So the fact that the sun is the giver of life and illuminates everything, the sun will be bringing out, for some of us, maybe even most of us, a very beautiful, positive, sudden something. And then right after that, we're going to have a Jupiter Cazimi, which is going to even do more than what Uranus potentially can bring. I think there's going to be massive expansion with something in your life, potentially linked to the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction story, if you do have a specific event or storyline that has occurred in that part of your life. I just think when the sun activates these planets, we're going to have almost like, I'm just kind of getting a vision of someone on an operating table and like they're not getting operated on, but just someone that needs to get the heart thing where they shock you to get your heart started again. It's like, I feel like we're going to be getting these reactivations, but I think these reactivations are going to be very positive for the most part. But like I said before, this solar storm is very timely for such heavy sun and major planet activations. So for me, I'm sort of forecasting that these planets with these Cazimis are very, very loosely tied, or maybe majorly tied, to these solar storms. Now, I'm not a scientist, of course, and I'm not someone who knows everything or barely anything about solar storms, except that the sun is always doing wild and crazy things, very violent things. The sun is a violent star. And whenever these solar storms come, it always does something to our magnetic field on our planet. So there's symbolism in that. There's symbolism in that. And usually the one worry is electrical issues. So if we really decode what the electrical symbol means in our world, in astrology, in our daily lives, then we can link together, how this can be connected. And I feel they're connected to the Jupiter Cazimi and the Uranus Cazimi. And then I could also maybe throw in the Mercury ingress into Taurus, because when Mercury gets into Taurus, we're dealing with a planet of communication. We're dealing with, everything that it has accumulated in Aries all these months. When it gets into Taurus, there will be a grounding of communication. There will be a solidifying of communication. I feel communication will become so much easier to digest and to express once it gets into Taurus. And then Venus will be there, and I think that's also such a beautiful... The fact that Venus is in Taurus right now is really saving the day because Venus is really bringing... I feel for a lot of us, it's making everything a little bit calmer and cooler. And, I feel like there's just a lot of love and beauty in the air, mixed in with some of this stuff that could be very heavy and complicated and chaotic. But Cazimis are usually very powerful, positive omens. Very rarely does a Cazimi cause havoc. But because we're dealing with Uranus, it's unpredictable. It's unpredictable. It is a planet of electricity. It's a planet of sudden shocks, literal shocks, but symbolic shocks. And these solar storms, considering that there's a potential for grid failures or glitches and things like that, which as far as I'm concerned, there hasn't been any major blackouts and crazy stuff that all these, fear-mongering people and some scientists who have good reason to talk about it, nothing bad has happened, which means that us humans, kind of maybe have the right technologies in place to handle it. But there could be much worse solar storms as far as I'm understanding. So this is not the worst it could possibly ever be. If the sun ever really wanted to emit a solar storm bad enough, the human race could be in trouble. Because just imagine if we lost electricity, guys. I mean, it's like one of those things. We don't realize how fragile societies are. But it is what it is. It's the way we've evolved thus far, in this modern day and age. But to me, it's very symbolic because I feel like when we witness these auroras, they're so beautiful and mystical and oh my God, they're gorgeous. It really puts you into perspective. It puts things into perspective of what's up there, the cosmos and what these, what it's capable of under the right conditions. And the fact that these Cazimis are happening within the week, to me, I just find that to be a synchronicity that, of course, I can't put my thumb on 100%, but it's something we must discuss. It's something we must look out for, in our life and in the Taurus part of your life, So again, I feel Taurus is so activated right now. It just is. And, the Aries stories are wrapping up. There's a lot of action with Mars still, Chiron. And probably within 3 days of recording this video, Mercury will finally be done with the integration phase. So we should already kind of be integrating and have understood and kind of, just everything the retrograde taught us. So, I'm looking forward for it to get into Taurus, because I feel like we're going to finally feel that's an ingress we're going to feel, guys. We're going to feel the Mercury ingress into Taurus. We're going to totally feel the vibe shift from Aries into Taurus when it comes to Mercury. And so this week, we can definitely look forward to all that stuff, So, everyone, that's all I have for you today. I hope this quick little video provided some insight for you. Let me know what you think. Any comments that you have are so beautifully received. I love reading them. Like the video, of course, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Sending you so much love.